Someone's been eating Cracker Jacks.
I forgot about that joke, to be honest with you. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, there's a vast majority of our audience who have no idea what that reference means.
exactly why I wanted to say it, because I'm going, yeah, no one, if anybody who is young, unlike us, who didn't grow up in the 80s and 90s, probably have no idea that, well, there was this popcorn and kind of candy. What would you even
It
consider
was
a Cracker Jack?
caramelized popcorn,
Yeah, essentially, yeah,
but it
caramelized
had a
popcorn.
toy in the bottom of the box,
Yeah.
kind of like back in the day when folks, when you used to buy cereal, there would be
Ooh.
toys in the cereal box.
I think like when it came to cereal, I remember I forgot which cereal it was that I had, but I remember they had this whole, I think it might have been Cocoa Puffs, because I was a big Cocoa Puffs guy. I was cuckoo, if you
Yes,
maybe
it was
possibly cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs,
mhm.
which again, I just go now when I think about it, I'm like, wow, my parents let me eat literally chocolate crunchy stuff for breakfast. It's so, when you think about the cereal, wow.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, my parents were being very responsible and didn't let me eat stuff like
Yeah,
that.
see, not mine. Oh, I had Pop Tarts, donuts. Yeah. Anyways, but I remember they had like a whole thing where it was like a campaign where they were doing like this treasure hunt thing where they had like different treasure maps on the back of their
I
cereal boxes. And
I
I
remember
remember,
this,
I don't think it
yes.
was Cocoa Puffs. It might have been one of the others. Might have been, but I
Well,
was,
what it would have been, because what it would have been is I think Cocoa Puffs is
yes.
General Mills, and so it
Yeah.
would have been spread across all the various General Mills
Yeah.
cereals that were sugary and sort of child targeted.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
just remember there was a point in time where I was all about treasure maps and stuff like that, where I remember me and my best friend would make up. He would bury something, and then I would
Mhm.
try to find it, and then vice versa. And we like made treasure maps for. I don't know why we got so involved in that, but yeah, and I remember that just being really cool. But yes, there was toys in the cereal box where you literally had to dig for them. So yeah, being a child, when other people are also going to eat that cereal, you're putting your hand in trying to find the toy, and it's like, but you didn't care. You didn't. You even if who
You
cares? You
really
wanted
didn't
the
care.
toy.
And there was always the cereals that sometimes it was in the actual cereal itself.
Yeah.
Then they got to the point where they just kind of wedged it in between the plastic bag and the
Yes,
box.
they
Yeah.
figured it out that hey, kids are digging their dirty hands into the actual cereal, so let's just put it on the side of the bag in the box. Genius, because it made it a whole lot easier and nobody's getting dirty child hands. Anyways, man, we are back
With,
with a
with a
tangent
tangent.
right off the bat. I love it. Yes, we took a couple of weeks off.
A lot of
Obviously,
stuff going on.
yes,
It's
in our lives. Obviously, I moved and
I got new
getting settled,
floors.
and he got new floors. So that's what happened last week. The floors were still being installed, so couldn't stream last week. So yeah, after a 2 week break, we are back, and we are back in Metropolis.
We are back in Metropolis. Feels a little weird though,
It does.
because we shouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
It's a whole. This is a great episode for
Yes.
like if you are one of those people that are all about canon, canon. Well, you must fucking hate this episode with a fiery
Oh,
passion. I mean,
oh yeah.
it
This is
is
one of
the
those episodes when you like, especially when you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this, and then it's just like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember going, wait, what? Oh, that's right. I remember when it first came out, I was having flashbacks of it. And I was going, oh yeah, that's right. I remember it being kind of going, oh, it's not Hal. It's not Hal.
It's not Hal. It's not Hal. And this is before Justice League.
Yeah.
So, as far as the animated fans are concerned, we haven't met Jon Stewart yet.
No.
Um, but of course, well, you probably know, but do you know why it's Kyle in this episode?
I don't remember. I remember there being a reason, but
Well,
refresh.
because when this episode came out in 97, 98, Kyle was the Green Lantern.
Yeah. Oh, in the books and stuff.
In the books, right.
Yeah.
So they made Kyle the Green Lantern in the show because in the books, Kyle was the Green Lantern. This is post Hal Jordan losing his mind, becoming Parallax.
This is during that time, yeah.
Right, because the whole reason Kyle becomes the Green Lantern in the comics is because as Parallax, Hal destroys the core and kills all but like one Guardian, and it's Ganthith who basically travels to Earth, and there's literally one power ring left, and he gives it to Kyle because the whole time Kyle's the Green Lantern for the 90s, even into like the 2000s. Kyle is the Green Lantern. There is no core. There is Kyle, and that is it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that makes sense now, because I remember, because it does throw you off a little bit, even if you're just watching it fresh and you're just kind of going, well, wait, it should be. But then, of course, again, it's the animated series. They have to take liberties. They have to go with what is what. And so things get changed, even though you see some similarities to, what Hal, his origin story.
It's just like we talk about with Batman.
Yes.
And the new Batman Adventures. Yeah. Right. You take Jason Todd's backstory and you give it to Tim Drake. What they did here was they took Hal Jordan's origin story and gave it to Kyle Raynor. So, because it's Abin Sur, it's Sinestro. This is all Hal Jordan stuff.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, in the DC animated universe, as far as Green Lantern is concerned, because we'll talk about something, a little Easter egg later on the episode.
Yeah.
There is no Hal Jordan in the DCAU. There isn't. That doesn't mean he doesn't appear later on. Spoilers. But
what?
I know. But as far as DCAU continuity is concerned, there is no Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Yeah.
The first human Green Lantern is Kyle Raynor.
It's Kyle Raynor, I know. And then we got King right here says, is that Hal? No.
No.
And then, Eric's saying, okay, I'm confused. And JLU, I believe Hal's the alternate universe lantern to John Stewart, right? Hal Jordan, don't worry, I'm up to speed.
You're right, Eric. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. When we get to Justice League Unlimited, that's during a whole timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey alternate universe thing going on. But as far as the DCAU proper is concerned, Hal Jordan is not a thing.
Yeah. Okay. It is all very interesting, but I'm glad that you upped, because I remember like wondering why exactly, and I'm like, yeah, that does make sense. It was during that time. So, but yeah, guys, thank you guys for joining in, and again, shout out to JD McRae. He is the executive producer of the stream tonight. Good old JD. So if you're out there, you are the executive producer of this week on Film Junkie on the Film Junkie channel. So appreciate you. So shout out to you. And so we're back here, and then this is we're back in Metropolis, which again, it's kind of funny because like you said, when we were diving into Batman Beyond, and I had people in the chats going, "Oh man, loving the Batman Beyond stuff," because people just love that so much, and it was great. But then it was like, "Oh yeah, but we got to go in order, guys. We got to go in order." So we're gonna be taking a little break for a bit. I don't know how long. How many episodes?
You'll find out.
Okay.
I don't tell you these things.
I'm not gonna tell.
I don't tell Dave what we're doing next. He
sent me the list a while ago, but it's a long list. I'm not going to go back and look at the list.
No, Dave has an attention span like this. I don't expect him to actually look at the. Did I even send you the list?
You did.
I did.
Yeah. You did send me the list. You did send me the
list.
I don't know if it was the full list. It might not even had it. Maybe you didn't send me the full list. Maybe you just sent me the production order list. Yeah, you might have not sent me the list, the whole list, or maybe you did. I don't know. But it's a long list.
Clearly, you've lost it already, so it doesn't matter.
It's in my computer somewhere. I know I downloaded it and I looked at it, but it's a long list, guys. There's a lot of animated things that we're going to be talking about, which is fantastic. And then we're diving into this. Obviously, In Brightest Day is the title of the episode, and it starts off.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's one of my little party tricks that I can do the entire Green Lantern oath. I love it. My kids just look at me like, "Oh dear to God, Dad,
Don't do it, Dad. What the hell?" But you have to.
It's one of those cool nerd things. It's like, you know, it's something that I miss. I miss there being like theme songs. I miss there being these oaths. I loved it. It's like congratulations, Starfighter. You've been chosen by the, it's like the whole spiel the video game gives at the beginning of The Last Starfighter. I love memorizing, these things. It's like the inscription on the sword and the stone, whoso pulleth this sword from this stone and anvil is here to King of all England. Like, I love memorizing stuff. So the fact that you have a Green Lantern oath, it's fun. It's fun to have something to memorize.
It's a good oath. And go ahead, recite it.
Oh, in brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Do you have a ring?
I do. It's not down here, and it's actually not even like it's like an actual like metal ring.
It's metal.
That
really,
nice. It's really nice. The only problem I have is I bought it when I was heavier, and now that I've been so the ring like literally, if I'm not careful, it will just slide off my finger. But I'm curious also, since I've been at my new job, I wonder if my hands aren't fatter, but I'm wondering if they've gotten beefier enough.
You'd lift inventory boxes and stuff like that. So
all the time. Yeah, because I do when I sized it when I bought it years ago, I did size it to go on the middle finger, because once again, they don't wear it on the ring finger.
No,
they wear it on the middle finger, and they wear it on traditionally they actually wear it on their right hand. So I've got a Green Lantern ring, but I stopped wearing it because it would slide off, because when I lost weight, it literally would just ding, 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 and fall off my hand.
It's so crazy how, like, when you lose weight and then it just in your fingers, it's just crazy how like stuff just slims up. And it's kind of, this is interesting timing, since, we got our first look at the Lanterns series.
Yeah, with John and Hal, which I stayed away from whatever, because, people are going to say internet things.
Oh, rip it apart. Oh yeah, there's nitpicks all over the place. I thought it was a good representation of, this is a grounded series. They are, if you look, you have Hal Jordan, who looks haggard.
Yes.
Doesn't look like his jacket. Doesn't look like that's even his clothes. His hair's a mess. He's got stubble. And then you got John Stewart.
And he's got the gray, which is kind of cool, because when I got introduced to Hal Jordan, it was when he had the salt and pepper look before he became Parallax, because my introduction to Hal Jordan was in the Death and Return of Superman era, so, because there's that whole big deal when Mongol with Cyborg Superman destroys Coast City, and Hal loses his, he goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs, going back to that.
I know it's a tie-in. I thought the only thing that got me about the image was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be grounded, and I'm just like, okay, just be a well-written show, and maybe won't. But it was like one of those things that annoyed me about the Ryan Reynolds movie is, why is it on so much of it on Earth? It was something that I wanted to bring up, because when we talk about Hal Jordan and we talk about an origin, I do not understand why more people do not talk about Green Lantern First Flight. Do you remember that animated movie?
Yeah.
That is an amazing animated movie. And if you are a Green Lantern fan, why haven't you seen it already? Or if you are a Green Lantern fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because that for me is like the blueprint of an amazing Green Lantern origin story. And
Is that on Max?
it's of course, yes, it's on Max
Yeah, it's
because
on
it
Max.
was part of that original series of Bruce
Yeah.
Timm produced direct-to-video movies. Lauren Montgomery, I think, is the director of that. I'm almost positive Gia Leva probably storyboarded something
Oh yeah.
on that. But I mean, that has Chris Maloney as Hal Jordan, has Victor Garber as Sinestro, has Michael Madsen as Kilowog. It's Training Day in space. It's
Yeah.
it's a great animated movie. We rewatched it at one point for DC Squadcast when we stopped doing news and we'd kind of started working our way through those animated movies, and we never finished it, unfortunately. But I remember rewatching it for that review with Tim, and that thing holds up as a
Yeah.
Green Lantern movie.
I haven't watched it in forever, so I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Maybe I'll throw it on this weekend after all this Green Lantern talk that's been happening for the past couple of weeks, and then us talking about it here. Which right off the bat, when you start off, we're in Metropolis, of course, and we got Jimmy who's just reading some comic book panels drawn by a certain Kyle Raynor.
Yes, which of course is comic accurate that Kyle Rayner was a cartoonist. He was
Mhm.
an illustrator. Uh, not in Metropolis in the comics.
Oh,
He's from
yeah,
Los Angeles in the comics. So
yeah. Yeah, but they, of course, again, they have to tweak some things just to, make it fit because essentially Kyle works at the Daily Planet as in the art. He's like in the art department, right?
he's in the art department of the Daily Planet. So he basically does. Uh, it's kind of weird. They kind of show him doing just about anything and everything. I don't think that's really how an art department and a newspaper works, but
Well, I think like what they're kind of trying to show is like sometimes when you need an image, I mean, this is obviously again, this is in the 90s. You need an image where it's like, okay, there's somebody's doing a piece about soap, and that's what you see him eventually drawing. I'm drawing soap. So it's like they need something, and they're not going to obviously Photoshop computer stuff, not really a thing quite yet. So he's just
he's
all
got a
right.
drafting
Well,
board.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So that's what he's doing, and then of course, but obviously in his spare time, he's drawing comic books, which is fitting.
he
And
gets a rejection letter from DC. So
those bastards,
I
my
know,
God,
right?
those guys, how dare they? But but then of course, right off the bat, we get a sense that Kyle is somebody who can be a hero because a piece of shit decides
You mean Guy
to.
Gardner? Did that look like Guy? No,
He does. I didn't even think about
you
that.
didn't even. Oh, see, I saw the first time. I was like, dude, they
Oh
drew this
my
guy to look like Guy
God.
Gardner.
Wow. Did not even think about that. Wow. You're right. Because he had kind of like a
Full
bowl-ish
cut.
haircut.
Yeah, it's red.
Wow.
I I totally thought I have nothing to
Wow.
back this up. I did absolutely no research on this whatsoever. I'm just looking at that going, yes, somebody drew that guy to look like Guy Gardner.
Yeah. Holy shit. I did not even think about that. Now I'm like thinking of that. Yeah, he had kind of like a bowl kind of hair. Wow. See, that's what I love about this shit. The little Easter eggs. That's really cool. But yeah, some dickhead, Guy Gardner
Guy
looking,
Gardner.
decides
Synonyms.
to
There you go.
yeah decides to grab Jimmy's camera, and Kyle just jumps into action, just totally jumps into to action, and takes the guy out. And he's athletic. He talks about how he was like I think he said he was he's a quarterback.
Quarterback at Met High. Yeah.
Yeah. So bringing that whole thing, and the guy tries to even pull a knife, and yeah, no, but Kyle just he knows how to handle
Yeah. And it's funny that they're kind of having like I'm the aspiring cartoonist.
him.
I'm a
Yeah.
photographer who still can't, you know, I mean, of course, part of me wants to go, Jimmy, you're in season 3 at this point. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, you still have a job. You're good. You're good. But I mean, obviously, when he takes the thief out and Jimmy gets a good picture of him, he's like, this, he's hoping it's going to be on the front page, and then I love that transition of him just like hanging it up in Kyle's little cubicle. And he's like, not front page, huh? He's all barely, he's like, not even classified. Like, God damn. I'm like, well, I was like, all right. So they had to like put that in there. And then, hey, good to see you, Seek. We got a diehard Green Lantern fan in here. Seek, good to see you, Seek. He loves Green Lantern. I mean, that's how I met Seek.
I didn't actually know that about it.
Oh, dude, that's how I met Seek. I mean, when he invited me to the Justice League premiere, he dressed up as Green Lantern. He had a lantern and everything. So, I mean, I remember I spotted him because it was easy to spot Green in the little crowd because I didn't make it in time. And yeah, he was holding the lantern. I was like, I saw him and then waved, and so Seek, that's like his favorite. I think it's his favorite DC character, if I'm not mistaken. So
Hey, that's no complaints. It's Callum's Justice Leaguer. I've talked about how every member of the family has a Justice Leaguer. Green Lantern is Callum's. So he has a Green Lantern teddy bear, and his diaper bag had Green Lantern on it. He can look at the logo and go, Green Lantern.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, good to see you, Seek. And so we have that, and then of course now we have this shuttle mission that's happening, and of course Lois and Clark are watching it, and
okay, I have to ask you.
Okay.
I thought about another 90s cartoon during the sequence.
Okay.
It felt so much like the
Spider-Man?
Phoenix Saga from X-Men.
Okay. I was thinking Venom,
The Venom Saga from
because it's got a shuttle and some astronauts in it. So I thought maybe.
Yeah, I think because it gets knocked off course and it's like burning up in the atmosphere. I'm thinking about how like their shielding was gone and Jean was having to like project her, psychic shield around the shuttle. So I went to X-Men myself when I saw that.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so obviously there's a ship that kind of fucked it up, and then they're now all of a sudden it's like now Clark has to jump into action as he does, and of course they do that thing where Lois like says something, looks over, Clark's not there. Obviously Superman is now going to be going to the ship to try to make sure that it lands safely. But then at the same time we get a whole other ship where we got Abin Sur who crashes down, and then of course he's got a the whole thing. Obviously we know the backstory where it's like he's effed up, he's got to like go, hey, the ring's got to find somebody worthy, and the ring,
and first he's got to hide the lantern.
True. So he makes it,
actually is something that later on they introduced in the comics, because it used to be like literally you had to like carry that thing like around with you, like you had to hold on to it to be able to like, I mean, Hal Jordan would like have to keep it literally in his locker to be able to repower his ring. And then they later introduced something in the concept of the comics where they were actually able to like tuck the lanterns into like subspace, so that it was just kind of like hanging out in like an alternate dimension, which is kind of what Abin Sur does to it in this episode, because he just kind of hides the lantern, and I always feel like he almost phased it out of like our dimension.
I just find it funny that like the early concepts of like having to carry that damn thing around, and then somebody was like, guys, this is ridiculous, can we just like, what can we come up with? Well, what about like another dimension that is just a little space that it could just disappear in? All right, we got it.
This is great.
It's like, because it's like, I mean, it was a cool concept to be like, okay, yeah, you have to have that. It's Green Lantern. You have to have a lantern, and then you got to do the powering and charge it up and everything like that. It's cool to do that. But at the same time, you got this fucking big bulky thing that is used in old timey days where they were just like, creeping around and holding it up. It's not very practical.
No, it's not. However, that just reminded me, great song. Everyone should like go to like their Apple Music or their Spotify or something, check it out. But there is a nerd band called Kirby Crackle. Very, very apropos for how much we talk about Kirby on this stream. But if you get like their Best of Kirby Crackle Volume 1, and it's one of those that like if you've got like Amazon Music Prime or you've got like Apple Music, their first song on their Best of album is called Ring Capacity.
Dude, Seek just put that right into again. He knows. Yes.
Oh yes, guys, rock out to Ring Capacity. It's a really,
I'll have to check that out.
It's a really fun song. Just get the album of the Best of Kirby Crackle. Between Ring Capacity, Booty Do Math, and Great Lakes Avengers. That song is hilarious.
I'm gonna check that out. Kirby Crackle. That's hilarious. So you're getting so much information with this episode, I tell you. But so obviously Superman, obviously when we see that, and then of course Superman lands the shuttle safely and everything's, and then of course, the ring is going to be, doing its thing, or it's going to find somebody, and it goes through Metropolis.
It's very whimsical the way they do it in this episode.
It's really whimsical. And again, why is it? I mean, there's something about this animated universe where there's always a fat woman in a fur coat. There's always a fat woman in
a fur coat with a poodle.
Yes, and there's just something. I'm like, Bruce Timm, what is up with you guys and fat ladies in fur coats?
You know what it is? It's Looney Tunes.
It is.
Such a
You're
Looney
right.
Tunes thing.
Yeah, that's coming from Looney Tunes era right there. But yeah, so you get that, and of course, there's a little poodle that sees the ring and starts barking at it and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, I love it when it gets to the Daily Planet, and Perry is looking for Kyle because he needs something to be drawn up. And I like what Lois has to say. She goes like, "Oh yeah, he's in the one place I don't have credentials for." And then it just cuts to the men's room.
Yeah, but then that just made me think of Batman v Superman when it was like, with balls like this, you belong in here.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. See, that's true. It's a good little reference right there. But yeah, so it was like a cool little cut to right there. And then of course he gets hit in the head by the ring and then it just falls down. And then that's
just hilarious to me. That just goes ding 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 ding
ding ding ding ding. It's like so you did all this flying and you picked your guy and you just knock him in the head and then you go, "Here, I'm yours." It's just basically, "I'm yours." But then that's where my little opening line for the stream was like, he goes, someone's been eating some Cracker Jacks, so, that whole little thing. And then, of course, he puts it on, and then that's where we get the reveal of the costume.
Right, which is pretty much just Hal Jordan's costume. It's not Kyle Raynor's costume.
Yeah, because they all have their own distinct costumes,
Well, Hal and John.
Yeah, I guess they have a similar one. But
they have a similar one.
John doesn't have the mask, I guess.
John doesn't have the mask. And then, guy is guy. Guy's gonna guy. It's interesting because, it was Kyle's girlfriend in the comics who decided that he needed to come up with his own costume to distinguish himself, which is why. So Kyle ends up creating, his own costume, because really, if you go by most of comics lore, the costume is just a construct of the ring. You take the most interpretations, you take the ring off, the costume goes away. Yep. Because it's literally a projection of the ring, which isn't consistent in this episode, and we'll talk about that when we get there. And sometimes not consistent in the comics either, because, usually it's you take the ring off and suddenly you're still wearing what you were wearing when you put the ring on. So, But
Yeah,
I did notice that they did not give Kyle his costume in the animated series. They just gave him the standard issue
traditional. Yeah.
Green Lantern costume.
But I mean, for somebody who is writing comic books, it's just like a cool little like, whoa, like what the hell? And then of course when Perry does find him and he's just like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to take this thing off. And then all of a sudden he's just like, and then obviously when Perry gets in there, the costume's no longer there because the ring's like, okay, I got you, bud. I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, because that's the thing you've got to remember is that the ring, and this is where my knowledge gets a little fuzzy. I don't know at what point in continuity this became the case, but basically the ring is just a supercomputer.
Yeah.
And it has an artificial intelligence through the central battery, and it can talk to the wearer of the ring. So I like the idea that the ring knew, secret identity mode, and then like turned him back into Kyle.
It knew. It's got its own AI built into it, basically. But that's what going back to the Lantern series, I'm just so curious of like how that's. A lot of people, of course, the sticklers out there, like, really, this is this is their first look. They're not going to show them in their costumes. I'm like, yeah, they're trying to set the whole. But you still see the ring. You still see the ring, and you still
have to look for it though. Dude.
Yeah, which was good though. I like that. I like the fact that it was like, okay, yeah, they're walking and then
enhance,
pretty much. Yeah. So but it's going to be interesting to see like when it first comes into play. And then of course, John is not wearing a ring. So I'm going, okay, so he's not part of this yet, or is he? I don't know. It's like, I don't think he's part of it yet. I think it's just, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see that whole dynamic. I still think they're cooking some good shit over it when it comes to the Lanterns for sure. But so obviously Perry is just like, yeah, I need some pictures, our pictures of the shuttle. And then you got Superman flying around. And then of course he finds Abinsur's ship and sees Abinsur in there, and then talks to him for a little bit, and then he just vanishes. And it's kind of interesting because then his costume is still on him, like you were talking about. No ring, got the costume, and then he vanishes, but the costume remains.
Right, and it's weird that he kind of had a very clean cartoon death, where it's like, I'm just going to fade away, like the Force. Like,
like
you're not Obi-Wan. You're not
Obi-Wan and New Hope.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much like a Jedi. He just kind of all right, yeah, and he gives his last little spiel and then just fades out. And then there's just a Green Lantern costume just sitting in the ship, and it's just again, it's like, well, wait a minute, I thought the costume was a construct of so I don't know.
I know. And then, of course, right now is when Sinestro shows up.
Yep.
And a big yellow ball. And I spent the entire episode going, I know this freaking voice.
I was about to say, are we knowing any voices here? Because
we would know Sinestro.
So nobody else, just Sinestro. Okay, who's Sinestro?
That's Ted Levine.
Oh, shit. God damn it. Oh, Ted Levine. God damn it.
Sat there the entire time going,
I
know this voice. Why do I know this? And then I saw the name. I just went,
fucking hell, man. Oh, good old Buffalo Bill.
I know. Put it in the fucking basket.
Yeah. Put the lotion in the basket. You just got that distinctive voice, man. Man,
he is
one of the best uses of Ted Levine's voice was that movie. What was it called? With Paul Walker, Steve Zahn, and that one chick. What was it called? Damn it! Where they had the CB radio. They were brothers, and they had the CB radio. And
I didn't see this movie. Yeah,
damn it! Somebody in the chat. No, but I'm like trying to remember the title of it. It's a really good movie. You should watch it. Okay. Small thriller movie where he's. I'm gonna have to look for it. God damn, what was it called? Because I've seen it numerous times. Let me see. Paul Walker. But he was like this trucker dude where basically they started fucking with him.
Oh, I remember the trailer for this movie.
Yeah,
I
they
never.
were fucking with him, and then he decides to fuck with him back, and he ends up like really, god damn it. Why would that not be one of his main movies? Come on, IMDb, what are you doing? What the hell? Okay, IMDb kind of sucks. What the hell? Show me where he's an actor. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Joyride. That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
okay.
Joyride. I knew it had something. I was like, not Road Trip. That's a whole different movie. But Ted Levine's the voice, and it is so creepy. Thank you. Yeah, and Seek just put it in there too. But yeah, he just like, I mean, because they pretend like it's like this girl named Candy Cane. So then he keeps calling them Candy Cane. He's like, Kirby, and it's the way that he says it in his voice.
Because his voice is just so distinct, which is why it was so angering me that I couldn't figure out who Sinestro was.
I knew it sounded familiar, but but Kyle Raynor is nobody.
No, I wrote down the name. So if we're just kind of curious, the name was Michael P. Greco.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Nah, me neither.
Nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was Sinestro, and I went. But there was a part of me that was getting a little annoyed at the beginning, and then eventually showed up. Is that when he's attacking Superman, he's doing that thing that I don't like that people do with lanterns, which is they just use their ring and just shoot energy rays out of it. It's like, no, it's a lantern ring.
Yes, make some constructs.
Yeah. And they'll do that later on with Jon Stewart, where it takes them like a season or two to get him to actually start making constructs instead of just pew pew shoot lasers. Yeah. Like it defeats what's so cool about the ring is that anything you can imagine you can create, which is why it is kind of cool that Kyle is the first Green Lantern we get in this series because of that. So, but but Sinestro does eventually start showing up with some constructs and kicking Superman's ass, here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, first it was just a whole bunch of like zapping yellow energy at him, and I just got like, oh come on, you can do more than that.
Yeah, but then after Sinestro realizes that Superman does not have the ring, all of a sudden the Lantern shows up out of that that little subspace, and starts and gives a little history lesson as Superman. He's had his history
doesn't even really give him a history lesson.
Not
it's
really. It just transports him to the Guardians.
To the Guardians, right?
Yeah. So but it's cool. It's cool. It's like, all right, again, 22 minutes.
22 minutes. Yes.
So they gotta be like, hey, anybody who doesn't know Green Lantern, guess what? Now we have the Guardians of the Universe, and they're gonna give them a little like, hey, this is what's going on here, folks.
But they really don't tell you anything. Like, okay, that is what is so weird about rewatching this episode is how little of the Green Lantern mythology this episode gives you.
Very much. But they try to do a good job by like letting them know, like, oh yeah, it chooses this, and then we have different Green Lanterns for the different sectors, and they show Kilowog, they show Tama Ray, they show the notable ones that we know about. I mean, I'm just, they show like the different versions, which was like, all right, cool. But at the same time, and if you're watching this fresh when you're a kid, you're like, what? Cool.
Because I'm missing Chip. I was like, where's Chip? I want Chip.
No Chip.
Do you know which one's Chip?
Chip is god damn it. He's the man, I know the name. He's the tell me. Sorry.
He's a squirrel.
Squirrel. That's right. But no Chip. No Chip, because Chip showed up. Did he show up in something else? No.
He shows up in things because he's one of those like fan favorite Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I'm like trying to remember what
it's like the evil cat who's a red. It's like the evil cat who's a Red Lantern. Like we love those. So yeah, but no, but you do get Tama Ray and Kilowog, and there was I think Nisa. Is it Nisa?
Nisa. There, yeah, they showed Nisa in there too. Yeah. So yeah, so a little brief history of just whatever, but again, they had to keep it short and sweet. So and then of course they let him know everything, and then of course back at Kyle's desk when he's in the Daily Planet, the ring starts, going, hey, some shit, like what the fuck, and then it starts doing its thing, and then it starts effing everything up.
Well, it's because Kyle is drawing the space shuttle for
Yeah.
Perry, and he's concentrating so much that he accidentally creates a construct
Yeah.
with the ring.
Yep.
And then the ring, basically, he's powering the ring with his willpower and his imagination, and he just doesn't know how to control it. And so it kind of starts going haywire because it
Yeah.
wants to turn him into a Green Lantern.
Yeah. And then Kyle just goes outside and is like trying to, all right, let me get some fresh air. But then what always happens? There's always some young little, it's always the same little girl, just like when it's always the fat lady with the fur coat. There's always like that little girl that has the ball. That, oh my God, I gotta get the ball. And then she runs out in the street. There's a truck that's coming. And then, of course, Kyle
She didn't mean to.
I know. Essentially, it's baby doll,
Baby
right?
doll.
Yeah. Right. So then, of course, Kyle saves the day and saves her, has the Green Lantern, but then, of course, has to save the trucker because the truck turns over and then it starts lighting up on fire.
It's like it's one thing after, like, at one point, I am going to be honest, I started rolling my eyes. It's like, okay, how much more can this keep on? How much more can this keep on going? It's like, first we have the little girl in the ball, then the truck crashes, and then the driver is stuck, but now the fuel is going to catch on fire, and it's just one thing after another. I was like, Hillary, you're taking this a little too far now.
But again, they had to squeeze all this into 22 minutes. They had to show the powers and to show all this stuff, but Kyle's already gotten used to it. I mean, I like the fact that he already was so used to it that when he saw the fire hydrant, he immediately constructed like a big wrench to just release the water. I was like, wow, he's already figuring it out. Good on him. But again,
I think once again, what's cool about making Kyle your first Green Lantern in the animated universe is that because he is so imaginative and creative, he would just look at the fire hydrant. He doesn't know how the ring works, but he's working on instinct. And so he's thinking, what I need would be like a giant wrench, because he's a cartoonist, because he's an illustrator. He's going to use constructs in a almost cartoonish way, like, what I need here is a giant wrench to and so it's like the ring knows what he wants, and so it does it.
Well, I mean, like when Sinestro shows up and they start fighting and he's like getting his ass kicked, I mean, he literally constructs a big piece of gum.
You ever try to get that out of your hair?
You ever get gum in your hair? It's terrible to get out. And I actually laughed at that. I was like, oh yeah, that's just funny, because you're right. It's all instinct. It's all just him being creative. And that's very creative to be like, oh, I'm fighting this alien being. I am just getting used to being now a superhero. I'm going to construct a big, huge piece of gum. It's awesome.
Another thing that this episode does that, because this hasn't happened in the comics yet by this point, is that when, like, basically what Kyle throws up shouldn't work, because what is traditionally, and they eventually got rid of that in the comics, but traditionally, what's the one weakness of a Green Lantern?
Fear.
Well, that's not until Jeff Johns creates that.
Okay.
When Jeff Johns goes off and creates the emotional spectrum, it's just supposed to be it's just the color yellow.
Yeah.
That's one thing Jeff Johns did a really good job of. Why yellow? Well, yellow is the color of fear. Fear is the enemy of willpower. And then, like, we make it make sense instead of just
it works.
It's yellow. It doesn't work on yellow. Okay.
But what were you getting at?
Well, just the point that like Sinestro throws all like those yellow constructs at him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It shouldn't have worked. Like traditional. If you go by
Yeah.
traditional Green Lantern lore,
Okay.
like Kyle shouldn't have been able to defend against that because the yellow would have penetrated because the Green Lantern ring doesn't work on the color yellow. Goes back to I don't care who wants to give All-Star Batman and Robin crap. I still think the effing funniest part is when Hal Jordan wakes up and Batman and Robin are standing there in a room that they have completely painted yellow. They even painted themselves yellow.
Oh, wow.
I laugh my ass off at that scene every time.
I know, like he's even saying like Alan Scott's weakness was like wood.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, in the chat.
So it's funny enough because I just watched 40 Days and 40 Nights, and Josh Hartnett's weakness was wood in that movie as well.
I love that movie. I remember I saw you posting that you were watching it. That is one of my favorite all-time like romantic comedies because it's a romantic comedy.
It is a romantic comedy. It really is.
Sossamon, I've always had a crush on her. My God, I just love her. Shannon Sossamon. Oh. She's so adorable. She's so cute.
She is so cute. It was my first time watching it, actually.
Really? That was the first time?
It was the first time, yeah. I was in the holiday season. So
oh yeah.
I posted that and I was waiting for somebody to get the joke of what I was saying.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I just saw you were watching it, but I love.
Do you get it?
Because of Valentine's Day?
No.
Oh no, because of Lent. Yeah.
Lent. Today's Ash Wednesday, the first day of Lent.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Lent starting. Yeah. No, but what's funny about that movie? I remember, man, talk about just a memory just hit me right now. So I remember the first time I saw the teaser for that movie, because it came out in the early 2000s.
2002.
Yeah. So I was still in high school. We were still in high school. And what was funny is they shot a teaser specifically with Josh Hartnett just standing there in a just a studio background where it's just all white. And he was talking about basically the plot of the movie, of what he was doing. But the fact of the matter is he's got a shaved head. Yeah. Because he was shooting, I think it was Black Hawk Down.
Down, yes. Yeah.
So he was shooting Black Hawk Down, so he had to get the crew cut. But it's funny because in that teaser, he's got a crew cut, but in the movie, he's got his normal hair.
But they wanted grown out a little bit, but it's definitely not Josh Hartnett. Like Josh Hartnett has a great head of hair.
Of course he does. Yeah, especially I know you look at him nowadays. Yeah, but it was just But anyways, 40 Days, 40 Nights. Watch that movie. Great R-rated romantic comedy.
It's on Paramount, streaming on Paramount Plus.
There you go. And if you don't know who Shannon Sossamon is, you're gonna fall in love with her because I did for sure. I still have a crush on her even to this day. But anyways, back to this. Or we could just talk about Shannon Sossamon for the rest of the time. No, okay.
Let's talk about wood.
Right. Well, good thing it's the camera angles here up.
Very high.
Anyways, there he does construct like the whole gum, and he says the gum in the hair, and then of course, during this time, this is where Superman's getting the history lesson of Green Lanterns. So it's a little bit back and forth. And then, of course, the Guardians let him know that, the Lantern acts kind of like a battery. So you better get this to him because he's going to run out of fucking energy, which he does. So you get a cool little Superman saving the day by flying in, holding the lantern, which is cool. I love seeing that, where he's.
But I also love that he flies him off to like those canyons that we always. Those canyons are somewhere outside of Metropolis that we keep on seeing.
Again, I mean, the traditional thing is like the canyons, and then of course everything falling into
the river. Yeah, nothing fell into the river this episode.
Not this time, but we get the canyons, and this is where we're gonna jump in on our clip right here because why not?
Let's don't go too long. I don't want to have to get this blocked again.
I know. We won't go like too long, but I mean, there's only it's like it's not going to be that long. But here we go, right here. There's these canyons.
It's the source of the ring's power.
Yes, that's so.
How does it work? You'd better figure.
I don't know. that would have been really good information for the Guardians to tell Superman. So he can
I know, right? How do you do it?
Do it, Kyle. Now.
All right. Let me just put my.
In brightest day, in blackest night.
There it is.
Now it's kind of cool because the Guardians basically teach him the Green Lantern oath.
Exactly.
Beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
Which also kind of feels like the reveal at the end of the New Frontier animated movie when Hal finally transforms.
Yeah. Look at that construct. Jeez.
That's an interesting construct.
That is a crazy construct right there.
Looks a little Kirby-esque to me, personally. Like
there you go, buddy. You got this.
Yeah, the one thing about this episode is that it does kind of devolve into just to a punchy, fighty.
It does. I mean, it's kind of funny too because when you like Kyle doesn't know, like, he's just like, I'm gonna try to kill this guy. He doesn't know that's not gonna kill him. That's a cool shot right there, by the way.
Yeah, they're also
imagined I would return to destroy them all.
Damn it! Now I hear it.
Now you hear it, right? Yeah,
I hear it.
But they don't explain where Sinestro's ring came from. They don't explain what's powering it. They really don't they tell you he used to be a Green Lantern, but they don't give you the whole history. Oh, hold on, Easter egg's coming.
Uh-oh.
Can you
pause
here it
comes,
for a second?
Guys.
Okay,
there's a plan. Up.
No, rewind.
Wait. There it is.
Well, there's that one. There was one before that.
Another one?
There's another one. Yeah, there's Hal Jordan's playing. Okay.
You got this. Goes off.
Yeah.
I went back too far.
Yeah. That's a really cool shot, though.
It is
when
cool
they,
shot.
Clinch their rings together. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, get ready to pause. Hover over the pause button and pause.
Broom Lake?
Yeah.
That's what
John Broome was the original writer who created Hal Jordan.
There it is. Love it.
Yeah, because remember, Green Lantern was created in the Golden Age with Alan Scott, but John Broome, along with artist Gil Kane, were the ones who created the Hal Jordan Green Lantern in the Silver Age. So that was but it's an Air Force base in honor of, Hal Jordan. And I love how Kane looks like something out of the Korean War. It's like an old school jet. Because look at the plane, he's a colonel.
Yeah, Colonel Hal Jordan.
You win. The ring.
And then, he doesn't quite look like that ring, does it? Looks a little, no? Maybe? I don't know. When did he have time to craft his ring? Exactly like that.
Fake out.
I like that. Fake out.
Punchy.
With a big lantern.
And it just punches him into a giant lantern and electrocutes him with green energy. Yeah, we better stop at this point. I feel like YouTube's going to come after us. I'm really gun shy now after what happened.
Yeah, it could be, but they got him. And then, of course, the Guardians start talking.
We're grateful for your help, but there is much work for you on your home planet, Green Lantern.
Which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, no, we don't have to show all this, but it is kind of cool because I like how Kyle was like, why me? Why not this guy? It was like, dude, this guy is already a thing. You need to be a thing, So, but it was just kind of cool. And then, of course, they do that whole thing. Hey, let's fly back to Earth after all this, and it's cool little shot. So
It is a cool little shot, and it reminds me about that. There is an Elseworlds when Superman gets the Green Lantern ring. Like there's
yeah, of
there's a
course.
comic
Everybody
like
has
that.
like a little moment with the Green Lantern ring at one point, right?
Well, or okay, confession time here. I remember when Arkham City came out. I loved getting, because that was back when you couldn't just pay for the DLC and download like all the skins. Like not all the skins were unlockable in the games. You didn't just buy season passes and you had to like hunt and like
Yeah.
and like find codes or like buy certain products. So I remember at one point I'm playing Arkham City. I went to Best Buy and bought the steelbook of the Blu-ray of the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie because it had the Batman Sinestro Corps skin. Because it's literally, when you read it, there's literally like one page with like one panel of the Sinestro ring checking out Batman. And because Batman uses fear, but he also has so much willpower that he rejects the ring. But that's a skin you can play as in Arkham City. Is Batman is a member of the Sinestro Corps, and I totally bought the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie just so that I could get the skin.
I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. But so that's pretty much it. We get our introduction, and it's a good little introduction. Like I said, they had to take liberties, but it makes sense, like you said, that it's Kyle.
For all the reasons.
Yeah, for very, very the reasons that he was the Green Lantern at the time in the books, but at the same time, they weren't hesitant to be like, well, hey, let's put a little Easter egg of, hey, Hal Jordan, hey, he's right there, don't worry. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this episode.
It's fun. I remembered it more fondly than I ended up feeling about it watching it tonight. But still, it's a fun episode.
Fun episode. It's a fun little crossover. I mean, it's like when we had our first Flash crossover. It was a fun.
I really enjoyed Speed Demons. Speed Demons was a fun episode.
It's a better crossover, sure, but
yes,
at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, hey, there's this here. Let's try to do something with this here and try to expand the universe. I mean, that's what I love about what Superman the Animated Series has done, is like really expanding it more, because you could only do so much with Batman when they were trying to keep it more like, oh, it's dark and it's gritty. Yeah, they could try to do, but let's face it, those first 2 seasons, they weren't thinking about that kind of stuff.
Zatanna was just an illusionist.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't
actually having the magical powers. Yeah. So, no, but I mean, they were like, all right, now we're in Superman. We got to I mean, obviously it's been expanded like crazy. So it was like, it was only necessary that they go, well, we got Green Lantern now, so let's put it in here. And I think they did a good job.
Yeah, we got Flash, we got Dr. Fate, we got Green Lantern. So, yeah.
And then we got our introduction to Darkseid. I mean, and that whole world out there. So, yeah, that's what's good about this. So there you go, guys. That is In Brightest Day, which good episode. What do we got next week?
Well, we are going back to Neo Gotham.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
We are. That's right. Okay, yes. See? So it wasn't that much of I thought we were going to take like a couple episodes.
No.
Sweet.
Yeah, so next week.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say
that. Yeah, crash the mode. Sorry, Young Justice reference. But no, episode 4, season 1 of Batman Beyond, Gollum.
Okay. So there you go, guys. We're back to Neo Gotham. Back to that whole world right there where we left off. And like I said, it just seems like the popularity of this show and the fact that I'm seeing people in the normal chats and everything and loving the fact that we are talking about Batman Beyond. So we'll be back there right there next week. Love it. But I appreciate you guys, of course, spending some time with us with this episode and being patient with the fact that real life got in the way in the last 2 weeks when it came to things. So
adulting's gonna suck. That's just
yeah.
the way it goes.
It's just the way it goes. All right. So go ahead and promote anything you have.
Nothing really promoting. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know that I've shut down a couple. I'm observing Lent this year, and I've shut down a couple of accounts right now. So don't look for me on Facebook or Instagram right now.
Nice.
I'm taking some time off for the next 40 days and 40 nights. But other than that, just here with this, with life hitting me really hard and fast, I've got some things that I remember 2 weeks ago I teased that there were going to be things coming in, but I just haven't had the time. But I'm actually having some surgery next week. I'll still be here for the show, but hopefully, I'll be staying home a couple of days from work, and so I'm hoping that maybe I can shoot some stuff. No promises, because I can't make promises these days. So, like, what happens. But I've got some things to show off if I can actually make it happen. I don't know about DCTV Squadcast. I did finally watch all of Creature Commandos a couple of weeks ago. But Ray and I haven't connected about recording our review of that. So it's really a lot in the air. I just kind of have to say, guys, thank you for being patient, but really this stream is kind of my thing now. And so I appreciate you guys tuning in to watch.
Yeah. It's been fun. Yeah, I know. It's just what happens. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you. And we'll see you next week back into New Gotham and for Batman Beyond. And we'll definitely have a fun conversation. Thank you, of course, Seek, Jason, and Eric, who've been vocal in the chat for this episode. Been great. And hit that like, thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Look forward to my first reaction, of course, tomorrow night when it comes to Mickey 17. And then, of course, the Vodka stream on Friday, which, of course, we'll be heavily talking about the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again when it comes to the panel. And so there's that. All right, guys, we love you. We'll see you next week, and we'll talk to you later.